is not towards any specific form of the divine, and that is the beauty of it. It is towards a formless divine with whom we can have that relationship. And I think this is a very important concept to have it in our life, that the divine is in us. So then, isn't the divine us? And aren't we the divine? The problem is the limitations of our ego that immediately take us on one of those ego trips. I am divine, so all bow down to me. That's the problem that we build a temple to me. We have a bit of a problem up here with a few screws loose. But when we realize that, as above, so below, as below, so above, the Vedas say, thou art that, Tattvamasi. All the Mahavakyams, the four Mahavakyams, if you look at them, the four statements of the Vedas that have been brought out as the essence. Tattvamasi, thou art that. Aham Brahmasmi, I am the ultimate Brahman. Prajnanam Brahman, that highest level of consciousness is the Brahman. I am Atma Brahman. Myself, the self in me is that. These were not mere statements, these were not political slogans. The rishis were not there to win any popularity contest. They were stating things as the things were. Now, when we have those statements, we understand that we have a connection. And this, for me, from a very, very young age, has been one of those mantras I have heard Swamiji chant so much. And now when I chant it in front of his samadhi, it's another relationship he and I can share. Of course, in India you have to be careful, because if somebody says you are like my relative, it means that soon they'll ask you for a loan. Watch out. And you have to be careful in India in some of these things. We have a few peculiar tendencies when it comes to relatives. And in India, everybody is related to everybody else. He is a close relative. Oh, wow. Yeah, he is my uncle's daughters, nieces, sons, father-in-laws, uncles, second brothers, 15th niece. Very close. It's mad. In fact, in India we don't have the concept of cousin doesn't exist. Cousins are directly referred to as brother or sister. And they say, it's my brother, and you have to again ask them, do you mean your own brother? Yeah, my own brother. You mean your blood brother from the same mother? And no. See, that's called cousin. No, it's my brother. It's actually, it's nice in its own way, but then when it comes to property, it's a bit of an issue. Everybody wants their share. And I deal with so many families, and the messes people can create is just beyond any top-selling novel and any top Oscar award movie. It's just amazing what can be created in these situations. I'm often at loss of words when it comes to that. That's one of those few moments I'm at loss of words, is when I come face to face with that. I'm like, really? How to help this person? Immigrate to Canada. What do you do with people? That's why many Indians immigrate here, okay? To just get away from what we have to do. But it can be beautiful in times of coming together. The bond can be there. support system, which is amazing. That is why the emotional health amongst Indians, I think, is much, much better. Social and emotional health parameters are much better. Even mental health. We do have a lot of mental health issues, but still, it's not. It's something that can be managed because you have a support system. So here, you know what your support system is going to be? It's the divine itself. So if the divine is on your side, why fear? I told you that I'll tell you a story from Germany. I was at the Indian Embassy in Berlin at the Tower Cultural Center, where I gave an invited talk for all the invitees from Berlin. And I was talking about mudras, and I had gone into detail about mudra and how it is so specific that, you know, where you place your finger and how the fingers come together and what connects with what, and it is this language, it is this intent and all of this. And at the end of this 2-hour speech, everybody was happy, I got a nice ovation, and as I was coming down, I had this little old lady come up and she said, Dr. Ananda, that was marvelous. Thank you. She said, but now I am paralyzed with fear. Because I don't know what to do anymore, because everything is so specific. I'm afraid I'm going to make some mistake or the other. Because actually, it was quite a revelation to me that I had actually scared her so much. She was just like, I don't know what to do now. Because like, if everything matters so much, can I even stand up? Can I even sit down? You know, I had actually gone. And I'm like, oh my God, what trouble I've got myself into. You know, it's just like the feeling when you have when you get caught in quicksand. It's one of those. Yeah. And then I suddenly had this flash and I remembered that all Indian gods, okay, all statues, every drawing, every painting, the commonest hand position that the gods will be in is a flat palm stretched upwards, usually right. And this is called Abhaya. Bhaya means fear. Abhaya means fear not. Fear not, I am with you. And I said, well, the divine is always saying Abhaya, that's also a good verb. And I said the Abhaya is saying that as long as your intent is pure, as long as your action is without ulterior motive, the universe is a safe place and the universe will protect you. And that came from my heart, and I have kept that for my own life whenever I have doubt. We often fall down. We all fall down. There are days where I'm not myself, but I'm lucky I have my mother with me. And she keeps reminding me by giving me a good kick in the back. This is not you. It's not you. Get back to being you. Okay, thank you. What are you complaining about? You have a baby. Yeah, okay, thank you. You need somebody like that in your life, and I'm so blessed to have my mother that way. Becoming more and more like my father, losing quite a bit of a diplomacy. So it becomes a bit difficult at times, and I tell her, publicly I acknowledge it, I say, as a guru, I will never argue with her. She's right, I know it. Never. I just cannot argue with her as a student and a teacher. I just cannot, because she is absolutely right. But as a mother and son, I do. So I say that we have a clear cut. There we do have some horrendous arguments at times. And then I feel bad about it, because I know most of the time. Actually, even there I find I'm wrong most of the time. But it's tough for the ego to acknowledge it. So we always put up this show that we are correct. Usually a few days later, I'm sorry. What can I do about it? Yeah. What can I do so that I try not to repeat it, okay? At least I try. We are not perfect, and lucky to have someone to remind me of what my essential nature is. That is what this prayer is. A very beautiful prayer. The next one is the Mahabharata mantra. This is again a very popular mantra that has made its way across the seas, all the 7 seas, and again in so many forms. This invokes Lord Shiva, who's having the 3 eyes. The third one is this vertical eye up in between the eyebrows. It is an eye that's enabling us to have a new dimensional perspective. That's what it signifies. It's not that Shiva was another one of those mutants who had 3 eyes, like Ganesha and all these guys of Patanjali. It's just that this third eye of Shiva is an eye of discernment, an eye that is able to see things as they are. Now if we only had one eye, we would only have a certain perspective. The moment you have the second eye, you start to have a 3-dimensional perspective, binocular vision. Now imagine you had the third one. Of course, you have to also have a brain to process all of that information. Having the eye is not enough. Consciousness. But imagine the multi-dimensional perspective it implies. That is what Shiva is. It's not 3 eyes because it looks good there or something like that. And again, if you look at the way it is placed. It is at right angle to the other two. So it's again totally, what it means is that the energy of Shiva is an energy that is able to see things in a multi-dimensional perspective, way beyond the way we see it. Why? Not because Shiva is God, not because he's blue, green, yellow, but because Shiva is pure consciousness. When Adi Shankara refers to Shiva, Tadeko Vashishta Shiva Kevaloham, he says in the Dashasloki. He doesn't mean Shiva as the Lord who has ashes smeared over him, sitting in a graveyard on the top of Mount Kailash. Where people go to that mountain hoping to see Shiva and Parvati sitting up there having a cup of coffee or chai, masala chai. And people are so disappointed they didn't get to meet Shiva and Kailash. Shiva is the energy of pure consciousness. It is the energy of transformation. One of the things, if you really wanted to get my father mad at you, all you had to go up to him and say, Swamiji, isn't Shiva the destroyer? You just got destroyed, okay? You just signed your death warrant. Suddenly this beautiful Swami smiling, he has the best smile, became this fierce Shiva, Rudra. And I tell you seriously, people used to come and tell me, your father had a bad temper. I said, yeah, it depends on the fact that you provoked him. He used anger as a great tool. When I look back at it, I just realized what a tool it was. He never felt angry. This is the thing. There was anger as a tool. But a lot of people come to me and say, Father's an anger, had a bad temper, he's an angry man. You have no idea at all about what was happening. The gentlest of souls. One who cared and loved people so much that if he didn't have his porcupine quills, would end up with everybody leeching him. Had to develop that. I hope I never have to develop porcupine quills. Shiva as the three-eyed God is not just for the sake of art and literature or iconography. It implies that this power of transformation is part of the bigger perspective. There is a bigger purpose behind everything that is happening. It's just we don't know it. Because we are down here, as I was doing the other day. Now we are down here so much that I don't even see the rest of you exist. Until I look up. And now, inside this room, I don't even know what else exists until I zoom out like you can do in a Google map. And thankfully now I have all these examples to fall back on. You zoom out and then you go all the way out and you see what the country looks like, what the world looks like. Go out far enough, you start to see the galaxy. There are some of those journeys you can do. Marvelous. Now imagine that transformative principle. That is Shiva. So Shiva is not the destroyer. Shiva is a transformer. But for transformation to occur, that which was has to give way to that which is, and that which is has to give way to that which will be. Was is to will be. That's transformation, that's evolution. We all once upon a time were cute little kids. I don't know where that got lost. The cute little kids will in future be like us. They lose the cuteness. They become adults. Adulthood and adulting shirt in, I don't wear a tie. And the only thing I have accepted in this new job is I do wear my white apron. So I have compromised to that. The last one I never did that also. Problem is that nobody knows who you are. You get stopped at the door. That's the problem with all of this. You wear the white coat and suddenly every door is open. You don't and they're like, where's your pass? It's a coat that gets the door open, not you. I remember a retired governor of Pondicherry had given us a recommendation during our troubles. When Amma took it to Delhi and met one of the officials, he said, here it is. He said, he's a retired governor. That doesn't carry any weight. Is he the governor now? That will carry weight. Imagine. It's like that. Seriously, I think it's important for us, and I tell one of my friends that. I say, I have known you before you were the director of the National Institute. I know you as a director, and I know you after you retire as the director. And my relationship with you will be the same. Has, is, and will be the same. Unlike the rest of the people who you think are now your friends, who the moment you retire are all going to turn away. No. Okay, fine. It's okay. Foresight is a curse. It's a big curse. Again, the antidote to it is silence. If you want to get over that curse of foresight, Mauna. That's it, Dakshinamurti is Mauna Vakyam. Unlike me. Shiva, that Triambakam Yajamahi, the one who has the three eyes, he is fragrant, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, nourishing all the beings. Ulva Lukamiva Bandhana, just as that cucumber is cut away from the creeper. It's an amazing day. I don't think they really meant a cucumber, they just mean some vine vegetable, but we translate it as a cucumber. It's quite funny when I think about some of our translations. Because this is just, why the vine? Because the vine is very much like life. Just, whenever you try to take a vine vegetable off, it can be quite a struggle at times. And so maybe that's why they took that. I'm not too sure. I've really struggled with why do they translate it as cucumber. But anyway, just as that vegetable, cucumber-like vegetable, now I'm satisfied, yeah. Cucumber-like vegetable is taken away from its creeper. I mean, the creeper, it's like, it's all the claws we don't want to let go. Again, maybe that's why that creeper came and not any other plant. Because, it has all these. I don't want to let go, not me. Yeah, no, somebody else, not my time yet. Just as that is cut away, cut me away from mortality. Mritya is death, mortality. Mokshiya ma amrita. Give me freedom, moksha, from mortality. Take me to Amrit. Amrit is immortality. Cut me away from mortality. Free me from mortality for the sake of immortality. And so you have a lot of people chanting this, thinking they will never die.
Yeah.
Oh, Shiva. In fact, as my father was leaving the body, we were doing a special yajna, a homa, in which we were chanting this. Not that he wouldn't die. Once you are born, you have to die. That's all. This body is made up of prakriti, nature. One day has to go back to nature. There's no escape. But what you leave behind as your legacy, the influence you have on people who have been with you, that lives on. That is immortal. Not the body. Something else is immortal. But we think, and I've seen so many people, even recently I helped a friend of mine who was initially diagnosed as cancer of the colon. And then later on we found out in repeat scans appendicular mass. Can you imagine the first doctor just said it's cancer, you have to start treatment. Luckily, we had a second opinion in another scan. They did a colonoscopy and they said, well, everything looks normal. He's had appendicitis and because of his diabetes didn't, go the regular way, and so he ended up with this mass that has mimicked a cancerous mass. And I remember giving him and his daughter, who asked me for something, giving them this in a certain pattern. You can chant this with a certain pattern for your own individuality. We actually started chanting it when he was still diagnosed as cancer. I'm not going to say that the mantra changed it, but it's interesting it happened the way it happened. But there are so many people who are chanting this thinking that they're not going to die or that, What this does, this mantra is very powerful. What it does is gets rid of the fear of death, which is a very, 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 very important fear. And there's a program in Kaivalya run by a friend of mine, Lee, who's from Canada. And she's herself a cancer survivor, and so runs this program, Yoga for Cancer Survivors, 3 weeks program. Now we have changed the title from program to, I think, retreat for cancer survivors, because she said, sort of sells better than a program. I said, okay, fine. We wrote one paper on the program, a book chapter on the program for a book on cancer. So a book on cancer is going to have this program as part of it, and now reporting our results of this on quality of life and profile of mood states, POMS scores. It's amazing, amazing I tell you. The results are so amazing that if it weren't Lee, I would think somebody made them up. But I know her, and so I know that they are not made up. It's amazing, the changes. I know reviewers are not going to be kind to us because they're not going to believe the changes. They're going to think it's concocted, but I just know Lee, and I know she is so ethical that even trying to add a co-author to the work, I had to struggle with her. Because she said, what did the person do? And I'm like, well, because of that person, we are doing all of this work. If that person weren't there, none of this would happen. So, there is a very important contribution. And, then she said, okay, but, so, she's that type of person. But we had a friend of mine phoned me. I narrated this the other night, but I'll narrate it again for those who missed it. A friend of mine phoned me and said, it was actually his brother-in-law. He's in terminal cancer and wants to attend this program, but they said there's no space. Can you please talk to them and get that person a space? Talk to them, there wasn't a problem. I don't know how they were told there's no space, because Kaivalya is a huge institute with a lot of places. No issue, and Lee is not a person to turn anyone away. So I think someplace in between somebody was playing something. This person attended that 3-week program. I looked at the person's reports. Amazing changes in profile of mood. Anger went down, fatigue went down, vigor came up. Much more satisfied with the quality of life. A much better upbeat mood. The person's return experience of the transformation during the 3 weeks itself is beautiful. And the person died 2 weeks later. Now, of course, I have all my friends in medical fraternity jump on me saying, you didn't cure him. He died 2 weeks later. What did you do? Yoga didn't do anything for him. But what they haven't realized is he left his body in such a better state of mind than he would if he hadn't done that program. And when in December I met his brother-in-law, my friend who had phoned me from Bombay, at the conference in Kaivalya, I said, you have given your brother-in-law the best gift you could have given. The best gift. And I think we need to look at this. We need to see that it's not that we're not going to die. We all have to die. And actually, in one way, I'm sorry to say, but I'm happy we will die. happy to get off at an earlier stop. 450 in this body, no. And this is the problem. You have to be very careful when you ask the divine. I don't want to die. Okay, fine. If the divine grants it, you are in big trouble. Please make sure you ask the divine when you ask that it is in good health and blah blah blah. You know, conditions apply. You know those insurance forms. So this is not a mantra that is going to save you from dying. Okay? But what it does is it enables you to face the inevitable. It enables you to find yourself. It enables you to have that Abhaya, fear not. That is what this gives us. And I think it is so essential for us because so many people die so many times before they actually die from the fear of death. People are constantly, why don't you do this? I'm afraid to do it. Why don't you do it? I'm afraid to do it. What if? What if? And then we live to regret it. Better to die without regrets than to live to regret it. An attitude change. That is what this mantra should give. It's not a charm that you chant and you're not going to die. But you stop worrying about dying, you get more done in your lifetime. But people are so caught up in that. You know, when Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Pandavas, is asked in the Mahabharata, there's a beautiful section where the brothers are in exile, they are in the forest. And they go chasing a deer, which has run off with the sacrificial fire-making flints. And one by one they come to a pond where there's water. And a voice warns, one by one, each comes individually, but the voice warns them, don't drink the water. They're like, who cares? I am blah blah blah. Drink the water and fall dead. Finally, the eldest, he comes, the four have died. They're lying there dead. Imagine this eldest brother coming there and four are dead and he's like, what's happened? And a voice says, well, I warned them. And they didn't. He says, what do you want? He says, well, you have to first answer my question. Then you can drink the water. And this is called Yaksha Prasna. Yaksha is a supernatural being. It's a type of supernatural being. Not a god, not a human being. It's like an in-between. In the Indian scriptures, we find a lot of these in-between states. It's sort of people who sort of didn't make it and didn't come back. It's very interesting. The Yaksha says, I will ask you questions. If you answer the questions, I'll allow you to drink water and I'll actually give you back your brother. One brother. Not all four. I'll give you one back. Yudhishthira says, okay, let's try. And this entire section that deals with the questions asked by the Yaksha and the answers given by Yudhishthira. Ultimately, he answers all the questions and he says, which of the brothers do you want? Now see, Yudhishthira, the eldest, Bhima and Arjuna. These three are sons of one mother, Kunti. Nakula, Sahadeva are the twins born to the other mother. So we call them the brothers, but again, even there you see that they're not actually all from the same mother. They're actually 3 and 2. And he says, I believe he chooses, I'm not sure if it's Nakula or Sahadeva, but one of the twins. And the Yaksha says, why are you choosing them? They are mother's children. Why don't you choose Bhima or Arjuna? These are the great things. He says, see, I am a son of Kunti, I am living. Let one of Madhavi's sons also live. The Yaksha is so pleased, he says, okay, all of them get back to life. Of course, the Yaksha then shows that it's not Yaksha, but it is actually the god of death, Yama, who is the divine father of Yudhishthira, who has come to test him and give it. But in this Yaksha Prasna, there is a question. And that question is, what is the most astounding thing ever? What is is the most surprising thing ever? And Yudhishthira answers, man seeing death everywhere thinks he will not die. It's a beautiful, beautiful thought. As a doctor, I've seen a lot of that. The young people on the motorcycles, oh my God. The stuff people do. You tell them there's 99% of you chances of you dying. Yeah, there's 1%. And where do we get? Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanat mritya mokshayamamata. Liberate me from this fear of death. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushti vardhanam urva lukamiva bandhanat mrityor mokshya mamritat trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushti vardhanam urvalukamiva bandhanat mrityor mokshya mamritat trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushti vardhanam urvalukamiva bandhanat mrityor mokshya mamritat. The next of these prayers is very popular again. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityavama Anatamgamaya. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from ignorance to light. Lead us from mortality to immortality. All three are journeys from limitation to the unlimited state. All three are journeys from bondage to liberation. We are bound by the unreal. We are bound by the darkness of ignorance. We are bound by mortality. And the liberated state is one of the absolute reality, the light of wisdom and immortality. Very beautiful prayer, very common. Hari Om Tat Sat. May that be so. We are reiterating our commitment to move forward, to evolve, to consciously take step by step forward on this path. A path that is towards divinity. A path from the limited, finite, bound state to the unlimited, infinite, unbound, liberated state. Because the liberation is the only goal of yoga. Kaivalya is the goal. Nothing else. It's not a yoga but. It's not even better health. Definitely byproducts. Those are side benefits of yoga. But the purpose of yoga, Patanjali is very clear. He says, Yoganga Anushtana, by living the angas, the limbs of yoga. Ashuddhi Kshaye. You get rid of all the impurities. Ashuddhi Kshaye. Jnana Deepti, the highest wisdom starts to blossom, burn bright. Jnana Deepti, Aviveka Khyati. That highest state of discernment comes. That is why you are doing all of this. And at that point, then you are ready. That is what yoga is all about. The limbs of yoga are for that. The rest of it is fine for, buttressing things, and the highest goal is liberation. Kaivalya. It does seem a long way away, but we keep walking the path because every step we take forward is a step closer to the goal. Another beautiful message is found in the next mantra. Purnamada Purnamidam. It's a very beautiful statement because this mantra has taught me a very important lesson in life, and that you never are diminished by giving. Giving nourishes you. Giving doesn't diminish you. We have a tendency, because we are all nowadays in our left brain, so we look at things quantitatively. So we think that if I have 100 of something and I give you 50, I will only have 50. And if I give you all 100, I'll have none. So I don't give you any, so I have 100. What has happened is we have got so locked in this quantitative aspect that we have stopped giving. The whole economic crisis the world has been through and is still having its repercussions in many places is because we have stopped giving. Why does society have problems? Because we have stopped sharing. Why do we have problems? Because we have stopped giving to ourselves. We have actually stopped giving our own self. Just think about it. The other day I told you about what if your kidney cells stop giving to the liver, and the liver cells stop giving to the heart, and the heart stops giving to the brain. It's all within us. That's what happens in society. That's what happens in the world. Because we have started to quantify the qualitative aspects of life, such as love, respect, gratitude. You only respect me 50%, so I will only respect you 50%. Come on. I have given you 5 kilos of love, but you only gave me 500 grams. Seriously. The way we have quantified these qualitative aspects of life. This mantra tells us that this universe, which is manifest, Prakriti, is manifest because of Purusha, that which lies behind the pure consciousness. And so it says that, referring to the pure consciousness, absolute pure consciousness, is wholesome. Normally we translate it as perfect. Nowadays I've started to move from perfect to wholesomeness. I like the word wholesome because it makes more sense to me. That absolute pure consciousness is wholesome, is complete. This universe that has been manifest is wholesome and complete. This complete wholesome universe has come out of that complete wholesome pure consciousness, yet that pure consciousness still remains complete and wholesome and is not diminished by it. Purnam Ada, that is Purna. Purnam Idam, this is Purnam. Purna, Purnam Udachyate, from the complete, from the wholesome has come the complete and wholesome. Purnasya Purnamadaya, after this complete universe came out of that complete pure consciousness, Purnameva Purnam Avashishtade, that still remains complete. That pure consciousness is not diminished by giving of it entirety. And I think as a teacher, this is the most important lesson we need. The more you share with your students, the more you get back. Full stop. I don't even put a colon, semicolon, comma, it's a full stop. The more you share, the more you give, the more comes back. And in fact, I learned so much more from my students by giving. And it's amazing, the more you give, the more flows. Because you are connected to something that cannot be quantified. The moment you start saying, this person has only paid me 100 and that person has paid me 150, and so I give this 100 person this much and that person this much, what you have done, you have just shut the gate on wisdom. Nothing else. This is what we do. We do it with love. We do it with respect. We do it with gratitude. There's a beautiful story in Indian thought that in an ancient time the king was building a temple, and so he decided that everybody in the city should contribute towards that temple. And so the richest man gave $1 billion and whatever it was. And then there was this little old lady living on the outskirts of the village who had no money. She had what would be the equivalent of 1 paisa. That's, I don't even, you guys don't even have 1 penny anymore, right? Let's put the equivalent to 1 penny, okay? She said, that's all I have to offer. And the guy who was taking the money from her for this, he's like, I don't even want to take it, it's worthless now. She said, that's all I have. When the day came, and the temple was consecrated, when the divinity descended on that temple, the divinity chose to go first to her. Not the guy who gave $1 billion. And everybody was surprised. They said, why? That guy gave $1 billion, but he had 100 billion. She had Can you give your undiluted attention? Can you give your undiluted love? Can you give your undiluted respect? Can you give your undiluted gratitude? That is the message. Because the more you give, the more you get. Again, my father taught me as a very young kid. He said, Ananda, the more you give, the more will come back. But don't give because it will come back. And don't think of it as a transaction. The moment you think of it as a transaction, you have quantified it, you have stopped it, you have blocked the energy. But as long as you give for the sake of giving, the universe will take care of you. You will get back. And seriously, as a teacher, I think this has been the biggest blessing, is to be able to give, and each time I give, even the last few days here, I have been getting so much from my God. I should actually pay the course fee because I am getting more out of it. It's amazing, I tell you seriously. What flows through me, I just stand back and I'm watching it at times and I'm like, wow, thank you. Because you just give. You don't hold back. And I found it so funny when a yoga teacher some years ago I was talking to said, I never teach my students everything I know. And I'm like, why? Then they go to another teacher. I'm like, you mean you have limited what you know? You have limited yourself so much that I will never give my students everything I have because they'll go to the next person once they know all that I know. You've already limited, you have quantified what you know, you have stopped growing. The moment you stop growing, might as well jump in a ditch and have sand poured on you. Because if you stop growing, if you stop learning, if you stop giving, why be here? Another leech on this planet? At least the leeches are useful, okay? They serve a purpose. We human leeches are the worst. Eating this planet alive. I forgot it, yesterday was Earth Day. I should have brought this up yesterday. Today is not too far away from it. To understand that we do not diminish ourselves by giving. That is the message here. Thing to watch. just says, may we grow together, may we learn together, may our journey be fruitful. And let us avoid the unpleasantness that can be there. Let us be aware that there can be the friction so that we don't get caught up in what is not important. Retain our focus on the goal. Sahana bhavatu. Sahanau bhunaktu. Sahaviryam. Karvavahai. Tejasvinavadhi. Tamastu. Avidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sahana bhavatu. Sahanau bhunaktu. Sahaviryam. Karvavahai. Tejasvinavadhi. Tamastu. Avidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll meet again after dinner and we will sing a few of the bhajans at that time and continue with some of the points of discussion that couldn't be covered earlier. And this evening I will also open up to some questions. So if you have any questions, just write them down on a piece of paper. And maybe just put them here, and depending on the number of questions and the type of questions, we will try to cover what we can. And I'll try not to keep you up too late. So that means don't ask too many questions. Well, I am one of the few teachers who actually doesn't worry about questions, because my father often said, he said, the questions are more important than the answers. So even if I don't have an answer to give you, it doesn't matter. Formulate the question, that's what matters. And when the universe is ready, it will open up to you and you'll have the answer. But the problem with the answer is once you have an answer, you stop. But as long as you have the question, you keep going forward. So, anyway, that's just a warning that I may not answer the problem. Conditions are clear.